Catherine Mwangi. This is What's Your Story? We're here at the Two Rivers. Thank you to the management for giving us this space to film from. Today, for the first time on the show, we are having a conversation with a sports guy. Well, maybe guy is not the word. He is a CEO of Gor Mahia Football Club, equivalent to like Arsenal, like the local version of Arsenal.
No, it's just Gor Mahia.
Or maybe I use a team that you don't support in the EPL.
It's just Gor Mahia. let's keep it at that.
Okay. So I mean, I'm really excited about it because, you know, it's also like out of my boundaries to just discuss football, soccer, sports. So this will be a really good conversation, and you're most welcome to the program.
Thank you, Catherine.
Raymond, that's your name.
Yes, it is.
You don't look your age. I already said that to you. So what's the secret?
It's in the sports. And
It's in what you do.
it's what you do, yeah.
All your life.
I tell you.
So did you grow up thinking that I am going to dabble in sports? This is my journey, or did it find you?
Strange how it all happened. I love sports, but if you look at it, I've played sports all my life, all school life, and into varsity. Then somewhere in between, I just decided this is what I really want to do.
Yeah.
I played, I think, virtually all sports in school.
Yeah.
You name it.
You played it.
I played it.
Even in me. Forget me. It's not a sport.
Which one? Let's try and see what.
Kalongo. Did you grow up in that generation?
Yes. What's that? Probably Kati.
Please stop pretending. You grew up in Eastlands.
Not really. I was born in...
Caliph is not in Eastlands?
Moved out when I was 2.
Okay.
Was it 3?
Okay.
And if I had the photos of Caliph, you'd not believe what Caliph
was then. Yeah.
And what you know now.
Yeah.
I'll try and pull it out end of show, and you see that I'm amazed that Caliph looked like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, but Caliph is Eastlands, no?
Yes,
or
it
which
is.
lands is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then you moved to South Sea. So
Yes.
your family moved to South Sea.
Yes.
So what do you remember? So fine, you remember your environment growing up, or rather born in Caliph for the first 2-3 years, and then moved to South Sea. So a large family you came from, right? What born are you?
Let's just say we are many, very many.
Okay.
We can actually create a football team. if you want to look at it, if you want to look at it, and plus mother and father,
right.
Team manager, and everything.
You can
literally form a football team. Yeah.
Are you a middle child, a last one? Where did you fall?
Right at the very top.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right at the very top.
Okay.
Fortunately.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
why?
I just say I think it's difficult being a middle child.
Why?
Just find people all over you, and
I'm a middle child.
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing
It's
wrong
just,
with it.
It's just, I wouldn't know.
Well, I'll tell you what happens. You kind of like keep to yourself, because if you take sides with the elder ones, it's a problem. If you take sides with the younger ones, it's a problem.
What I know is when you're at the front of the food chain, you also get the wrath of the folks.
Parents,
Of
yes,
course.
because you're supposed to set an example. So are
Remember, they're still young, and
Yeah.
this one will set example for the rest of them.
That's pretty cool. So what are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Many. We enjoyed. We played. Those really no bounds. We played shake. We played football. We ran around the estate, and I tell you, but I think one of the most amazing things is that all the folks could discipline you, man. If you did something, come to your place, your folks discipline you. And now that's not the problem. The problem is that you fear that they'll tell your folks what you did. So now, it was amazing growing up. Yeah.
So different from what it is like now, right?
Completely.
So different. We had curfews. Like, lazima urudi kwa nyumba but
I
now,
mean, that was unsafe. you know what's going to get you if you're not in the house by 6:30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we used to bring in neighbors' kids, our friends, to eat in our home, or vice versa. And then, I mean, growing up back then was quite the thing, I think.
Yeah, the big communal. Yeah, it
Yes.
was really. I think that's what you call it, communal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are good at shake, eh?
Shake.
So you know
Master.
shake and you don't know kalongo. You're
I know.
playing me. You're playing.
And maybe it has another name, but I know shake.
You're playing me, but it's fine because
Yeah.
it's the same thing, man. But anyway, it's fine. So so many siblings to form a football club, moved to South Sea. How different was that? Because that kind of is like a next level, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And that's for me. That's where it all came through, because again, still same thing. I think that's where we played shake most. That's where I played shake.
Okay.
And it was fantastic football.
Yeah.
And we moved into the neighborhood when there was still a lot of space. I think when we moved in, I think we're 2 rows, and after that was the park. So it was pretty decent, pretty new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your parents, what do you remember most about them? I read in your profile they're both not with us now. But what are some of the things they taught you that you remember now and maybe passing on to your child?
Every day was a learning day. There was never a dull moment. My mom was a teacher, so you know what that means. Homework had to be done. Theory homework, you understand.
What's theory homework? I don't know.
Theory homework? Well, boys, we should be out playing after school.
Okay.
And she comes back from work and you've even done homework. So, you know, you'd be doing it with tears. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Throughout my school. She was a big influence. I ended up loving the subjects she used to teach in high school, which was geography. Ended up being pretty good at it, I think. Strange reason, her grandson also seems to be very good at the geography. So there's something.
Must be a gene somewhere trickling down.
Yeah. But Dad was pretty busy man. Marketing, medicine, and pharmaceutical and stuff. So pretty much traveled a lot. Okay. In the continent and out. So I won't say he wasn't there, but he was pretty much there.
Yeah.
When he was around, we went out on Sunday. Jeez, after church.
In your Sunday best.
We looked forward to that Sunday. After church, and it's strange what we really liked then. We used to go for chips and ice cream at Blue Room.
Blue Room or Slash? Where's
Blue Room off University Way.
So yes, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah.
Okay.
We enjoyed that Sunday outing. And
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty good. But because of his constant travels, we were shipped to boarding school pretty early. Went to Hill School, Eldred. So yeah, a lot of my growing up was also in boarding school. Yeah.
Wow. At an early age. I hated boarding school, so...
I no regret, loved it. Hill School was fantastic.
What did you love about boarding school?
Everything. Okay, that's all I know now. Thinking about it.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So is that where you started playing games, sports?
The exposure was there. So it then just created the base of going to high school. And one of the most interesting things is that when I was in primary, I loved playing hockey. And because of that, my natural choice was to want to go to St. Patrick's, Eton. We were pretty good in hockey, basketball, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, sitting exams, ended up in Nairobi school. I thought I was disappointed.
You were?
When I was called to the school, I wanted to go to E10. I mean, that's where everyone in Hill School went to. Mm-hmm. That's where all the hockey was played.
Okay.
And I thought,
yeah,
this is not right. But yeah,
yeah,
it ended up an excellent decision.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How come?
No, Patch is everything. Now that
Was there hockey there?
there was everything. There was everything.
Okay.
There was literally everything that there was in Hill School.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So your love continued for sports?
For sports, I got to play a lot more.
Yeah.
Because when we're growing up, when we're in school, we used to play, unlike now where people play one sport, we used to play a different game different games every term. So first term we had swimming, basketball, hockey, cross country. Second term was rugby, for all I remember. Third time we played football. So we ended up playing everything.
Yes.
Had to.
Yes.
Because you had to take house activities.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise you that you're doing what you're doing now, because those foundations were laid back then. It's
got to be, for me, it's got to be a passion, and those are the life lessons I get, and those are the things I try and encourage the young ones. Find a passion, and follow it, and see what logical end it can come to. Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, after high school, then there was university, and then now you started to pursue a career.
Yes.
And it so happened to be in sports?
No.
No.
I'm actually a trained teacher.
What did you teach?
It's geography.
What do you mean, see geography? I just left it at you are really good in geography, not that now you ended up teaching it.
Yeah, ended up teaching geography.
Yeah?
Yeah.
High school?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you do that for?
About 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years.
So it was, you never thought of pursuing anything in the line of sports, or is it that back then there was nothing to pursue?
Sports was mchezo. So you can imagine that conversation you want to have with
your parents.
Yeah. You want to? Yeah. So these are things you pick up as you go along. So I finished my Bachelor of Education, went to teach. While teaching, I coached hockey, coached rugby, and that's continued studying. Then an opportunity came, and that was the end of teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
What opportunity was that?
I moved into, while at it, I was doing a lot of work for rugby as coaching boys and refereeing. While at it, I got an opportunity to work with Kenya Rugby Union while I was teaching, and I jumped out, jumped off the bus, teaching bus.
And by this time, your parents were okay with your decisions, because...
By this time, the conversation is, I ticked all boxes, went to school, passed, got my degree, started working.
Is there anyone else amongst your family that is interested in sports as you are? Or it's just like from a fun level, not a technical level?
No, the rest, we played here and there. And,
Okay, so you're the only one who now took it like a bit, this is now the call.
Yeah, you've got to, you've got to be at a point where you play it, and then you see the gaps that are in it. Then you end up, if we did this a little better, where would this have taken? Yeah? Where would this have ended for many people who loved sport?
Yeah.
Where would this have taken my pals who didn't pursue education to where we did, but loved football? Because that's what a lot of them played.
Yeah. So you moved from loving hockey in high school to teaching geography, fine. And while at it, you were teaching sports.
Yeah.
And then an opportunity in rugby came in. And so between the rugby and what you're doing now, which is you're the CEO of Gor Mahia, give me that journey.
So between that, worked at Kenya Rugby for about 3 years, then moved into, again, one of these default things, moved into advertising and communication. Totally new, totally out of the space. Got into experiential marketing. Did that for, quite a while. 12, 15 years.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've been doing for a while. Then I discovered that, with my passion and love for sports, there is actually an opportunity or a gap that we can use these skills in marketing sports, because there is a big opportunity and gap in that area. So one of the most interesting things is when I was in varsity, I think second, third year, I can't remember. There was this movie that came that I watched that I think stuck with me. Jerry Maguire. Show Me the Money. I think that it was about sports marketing and that whole environment, and how Jerry Maguire changed as one of his clients, Cuba Gooding Jr. And he was, it's a whole sports marketing. I think, geez, this looks funky. It's a good thing you're in the business of sports. You're in the sports environment. You're watching the sports, and I just said, I think this, and it went to teach, but I still just kept going back. That picture of the movie just kept. I said, this is what I really want to do. Eventually ended up in advertising.
Right.
Then drifted towards sports and sports advertising, sports marketing.
Right.
So I've been in that space for a while.
For quite a while.
Yeah.
You also you are the sports manager at KCB. I
Yes,
read that. So what's that role?
In between all that, I ended up at KCB. KCB has a large portfolio of sports, rugby, football, volleyball. Yeah. So I ended up in that role for about 3 years.
So what we'll do now, and we'll come back and talk about how the opportunity you now have came about, as well as during all of that, at what point did you decide I need to start a family? Because it sounded like you were doing a lot. So even for let me not preempt it. Let's do the break. Let's do the commercial break. We will be back.
Where I'd like the club to be is, one, self-sustaining, right? Because for me, that sustainability becomes key. How do we keep going year on year?
Welcome back from the break. This is What's Your Story. We are here with the CEO of Gor Mahia Football Club, Raymond Oruo.
Oruo,
I
yes.
said it, yes, that's your surname.
Well done.
Thank you. I asked him for how to to pronounce his name during the break, but yeah, thankfully I've gotten it. So, do you support any foreign teams? And yes, you already told me Gor Mahia, so please.
I watch a lot of football.
So, how did this opportunity to run the Gor Mahia Football Club come about?
While I was managing KCB Sports, that's what really got me into football, and the football politics and environment. So after that period, got out, continued doing the usual advertising stuff. Then an opportunity came up. Gor Mahia had an elections and new office came, and I was asked, there's an opportunity here, what would you think? And I saw fantastic opportunity to build something,
Yeah.
to grow something.
Yeah.
And it is a team that I supported.
Oh, okay.
Just take you back, in 1987, when Gor won the Nelson Mandela Cup, I literally did not miss any game that was played on the weekend for some reason, and I was in school. So, but yeah.
So ulikuwa na hepa?
No, I follow rules and regulations. I got, let's say, I watched the games and got back before roll call. Yeah, but yeah, I followed. Fantastic season that was. So, love for football and Gor Mahia started way back. So I thought it was a fantastic opportunity to help grow this thing. Yeah, that's so I took it up, took up the challenge. Yeah.
So you're already like in this football circles here in Kenya, like deeply entrenched for you to be able to get that position. Obviously it came in merit, but you were known, like you had done some work with them.
No, not really. But because I was already had managed KCB and I was already in the football circles,
Yes.
yeah, it was an easier conversation to have.
Ah, so this was which year?
2020.
COVID year.
Yeah.
First, did you go in with a plan, or was it to find out what am I going in to find before I can come up with a plan? What was it?
You've got to go in and see what's there. You may have a plan. You may think you have a plan. You've got to go in and study what environment is this you're going into, and see how does it look like? What are the gaps? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? What can be fixed quickly? What are the quick wins that you can get? And yeah, so that happened. And remember, you're trying to do that. There's the whole COVID, restrictions.
Yeah.
You can't play. You can't play. No fans.
Yeah, that.
PCR tests every corner, and Gor was playing in the Africa Championship. Travel restrictions. It's a whole. So I think for about a year or so, it's just
navigating through all of that.
And literally everyone is navigating through all this difficult period and just trying to stay afloat.
And you're the guy at the helm everyone is looking up to for direction.
So there is the executive committee also that you work with. But yeah, it wasn't an easy period, or rather, it's still not.
It still
clear.
isn't?
It's still not pretty clear.
Yeah. So what would you say are some of the small wins you've had since then, even in the midst of all of this, upheaval, all caused by the pandemic, by the way?
Having the team together and keeping it going is actually a daily task that you've got to do, and more so now that there's all these challenges. I think what we've managed to do is pull through that difficult period. One of the things that we've not managed to do very well is try and getting the people back into football, back into the stadium, which is and has been a major revenue earner for the club.
Yes.
So at that point, we're struggling with that a bit.
Yeah.
The squad has not been very well balanced. Again, not where we've been. We've done better before. So I think it's navigating through that and trying to find a sweet spot where we can then say we can now move it up. But I think the biggest challenge from where I sit is which would not happen today or tomorrow, from what I see, is just generally the structure of how we structure our clubs and football. And for me, we need to change the model of how the club is structured. I think everyone knows that. We all know it, but I think the process of changing it is what is.
I was going to ask, whose responsibility is it?
It is the collective responsibility
Okay.
of the executive, because that's really they're the elected. It's like politics. It is political. So there's that whole element. It's like changing the structure of a country. You need to
It's like
pull
the
in,
constitution,
yes,
changing a
those ones.
constitution.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that bit, but there are lots of models we've seen that have worked. Whether it can work in this end of the world is what we grapple with. But for me, we need a whole cultural mind shift of all stakeholders.
So, okay, the kind of job you have is more or less like what we have in the media, where everything you've said, but what people also don't understand is the fans, in our case also the audience, how harsh they can be. And that's because they don't have a lens inside what's going on for them to be able to understand, or at least give you grace or time to be better, do better. So it's a high pressure job in that way.
The fans, and you understand where they come from. We want results yesterday. We get frustrated when the team doesn't do well. You get frustrated when a team that has won 4 championships back to back now can't string 2 wins in a row. Of course they get frustrated. But yeah, it is part of the job. It is their right to get frustrated and get annoyed, and yeah, that's the fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to do the bit that you've got to do and keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Kenya Premier League, of which Gor Mahia, it's always me. Again, like I said, this conversation is exciting to me because it's local football. I've never had a conversation with someone who is actually running one of the top clubs, if not the top club.
I think now you've got it right.
I've got it right.
Yeah.
Then when I have the AFC CEO here, I'll say the same thing.
He'll try and say something close.
So what's the rivalry between the two clubs, you guys and AFC? Where does it stem from? Is it even real, or it's an illusion?
You know, sport thrives on rivalry. Sport is about passion, yeah, and that passion and emotion, yeah, that's what drives. I'll digress a bit. That's what drives a commercial value. That I'll die for it. This is so that's where it comes from. I think without sounding let me sound politically correct. Primarily, Gor gets its support from Nyanza. FC gets its support from Western Kenya. Right? Geographically, neighbors. A lot of the schools also, Kakamega High, Musingu, Kisumu Boys, you see where it comes from, yeah? So it's drawn that into Gor and FC. They're the guys who, for a long time, turned up in the stadium and created that rivalry. And of late, it's really, I think it's nearly died. It's not as big as it was. So that was the genesis. If you look at something like Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's all, quote unquote, tribal, Catalonians and the Basque.
Spaniards.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So rivalry in sports has to be driven from somewhere. And it's good. It's
Okay.
good. It should be good for the league. It should be good for the sport.
Yeah.
If leveraged properly.
Yeah.
We see big match days in Tanzania where Simba is playing Yanga, massive. The city is divided into two, red and yellow. There's a story about a guy who went to watch. Actually, he didn't even go. He was in Dar es Salaam. So he calls a cab. I think he's going to his business. And the cab guy who comes, he wasn't going to watch football, but the guy is putting on a red polo shirt. The cab guy told him, no.
You're not getting in the car?
No, he said, no, I can't carry you. Put on a jacket or something. Can't carry you.
Why?
Because he's a younger supporter in yellow and green.
So he's not carrying.
So he's wondering, so this guy's wondering, what the hell? So you're told you're putting on rival. So it gets that serious.
Yeah.
And it can only be good for the sport as long as, as long as it's not violent and, yeah.
So even if you're rivals, it means then you also cannot have friendly matches, no?
You can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's absolutely no problem with that. Currently, and for a long time, I think for the last the last two sponsors we've had the same sponsor with AFC Leopards. We've got the same sponsor, so it doesn't stop. Rivalry is good on the pitch, for the fans and for the stadium.
Yeah.
But out of that, we are friends. We live in the same area. Players live together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your dreams for the club that you run, Gor Mahia?
I think what I see the club being, and where we are, and what it needs to bridge the two, I find it sometimes blurry, right? So where I'd like the club to be is one, self-sustaining, right? Because for me that sustainability becomes key. How do we keep going year on year without begging, without, you see, so how does that funding keep going?
Yeah.
How do we keep performing? How do we keep performing locally, in the region, in the continent? Are we able to win the Africa Championship at one point? Are we able to consistently play in the knockout stage of the Africa Championship? Because that is where the money is.
Okay.
Right? Are you able to get to the semi-finals, finals of the Africa Championship or that level? Because once you get there, the funding is fantastic. It's big money. But then you get to the ground, as I say, kwa ground vitu ni different. How do we move things from where they are? Remember, I alluded to our model and how we are structured. So our current model allows us to be there and be there not. Hit here, hit there not. So we just can't be consistently playing at that level, and that really gets frustrating, right? You look at the potential, you look at what you've done before, why you're not able to replicate it, and a lot of it sometimes just boils into the whole...
The politics, the
whole
setup, the
structure.
mindset, the structure.
You notice it's you talking. Those ones, it's you throwing
I'm saying
in.
the words you can't say, but for whatever reasons, which, I think I'm kind of getting it. Now, and when you've said it like that, then I've kind of like remembered all the things that bedevil our sports, especially football in this country. Like there's just always all this. So when you say you're frustrated because you look at the potential and what can be done, and then you wonder why can't you do it, and then the frustration is there because you want to bring this thing, you want to elevate it, and you can't for whatever reason, or you can't do it fast enough.
I think it's slower than you'd want it to be, because you know the best practices, you see it, we've traveled, seen that, but you're wondering, why is it not getting as quick? We know we have the know-how, we've got the people. Is it the policy? Is government not taking sports serious enough for it to?
Like, where's the clog?
But why is it me feeling this and no one else sees this as huge potential, especially for the youth? I see sports has ability to change lifestyle and youth and get them out of nothingness, if I can say that.
Yeah. What do you think about the ones who choose to take foreign citizenship, foreign sport citizenship? And, you know, so we're half and half. So there are people who say, why?
And why not? I'd say, and why not? Maybe they're in this same situation wondering, if only I'd want to, but if only, if only we had the facilities, if only, why not? I mean, and I appreciate those who have stuck and represented the country, but at the end of the day, you've got to look at the individual. What is it that they aspire to be? Maybe they want more. They're not getting more. More not in terms of the money, but just more, to do more for themselves. We want that world championship so bad. But it's also about opportunity. Right? I'd never look down on someone who's taken that at the end of the day. Then you've also got to look at the end of your sporting career. What else?
It's true.
Yeah.
And they end up shining. I mean,
Of
their
course,
names become global
stars. The facilities and the structures that are out there are amazing. And I mean, remember, this is someone with raw potential. I mean, look at our runners. We churn them out in droves. And also just opportunity. I mean, in a day, if you go to E10, thousands of runners. Think about it. When will you ever beat Kipchoge, for example, to get your next? If you change it, you may get that opportunity to run against him. But yeah, I think it's something we need to look at. We need to be worried about it, that we're losing talent. But we've then got to look back and say, why?
I hear you. So you're the guy who we should look up to bring some level of sanity and order in our industry, football.
You know, I tend to look at this whole thing. I'm in football now, but I tend to look at, I tend to want to look at sports in a total sense, because what I do, apart from managing Gor Mahia, I run a sports marketing consultancy also. So that's really where I think that's my passion. Yeah.
So what does the agency do? What do you do there?
So at the moment we do a lot of things. We're looking at different kind of scenarios, and we're saying how best can we commercialize sports and generate revenue. At the end of the day, it's how do you grow the sports and how do you create a commercial value for the sport. I always like giving an example that I think is outrageous, but think about it. You know the Super Bowl? Halftime show? Maybe that's
yes, I do.
Big. You, and that was just the halftime show you've seen. The advertising revenue that is generated around the Super Bowl is mind-boggling. So think about it. How can we, and that's on the massive scale, how do we bring it down? You see, then you've got to then stop looking at Goran FC only, but how do we make it attractive? How do we make the second tier of football attractive, not only the Premier League? How do we make rugby attractive? So I like sitting in the sports space and look at it
Holistically.
holistically.
Like that.
How do we make volleyball? I like watching volleyball.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You've played well. How do we make that? The Malaika Stars are always going to world championships and whatever. How do we bring sports events here? You've seen the magical Kenya Open, you've seen the World Rally Championship, you've seen athletics come. How do we bring such?
So that's the focus of your agency.
So those are the things that we are looking at at the moment.
Okay. So you manage that and you also manage this club. That's pretty cool. Is there anything else in your heart of what you manage in the sports arena that we should know about before we say goodbye?
Not really. I think I've told you.
So is your son also into sports?
He likes watching sports.
Watching? So him and I, same WhatsApp group. The watching but not necessarily the playing.
He probably knows more.
Because
esports, It's big.
Yeah, it is, by the way. How come esports? We haven't been able to translate esports into television or media here in this country.
I think it's something. This whole media conversation with sports is a whole conversation that we can have, and your fellow people there may not take it kindly, but we need to have that conversation seriously about how the media engages with sports and how we can develop that whole sports media industry and how we can leverage our local sports portfolios for the mutual benefit of each party. Yeah. Okay. So it's a whole conversation, and remember the whole media broadcast thing is changing with digital age, and we might end up getting stuck and remaining while how we consume sport and media is totally different these days. Yeah. Gone are the days where we've got to sit and wait for a TV and we've got to look for a TV. These days on the go. Yeah. So, those trends we must take them in and take them in fast. Yeah. Yeah.
So the show goes up on YouTube after this, and a repeat this coming Tuesday at 10 p.m. Make sure you don't miss that. We've had a good time having this conversation. Thank you for the enlightenment. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.